All right, guys, so we're going to be putting out a new series called Fix It Friday, and every single Friday I'm going to put out a video. We're going to talk about some common mistakes that beginners are making. We'll have some live training videos of my students getting some sparring in, and also we're going to use that as an opportunity to fix some of their mistakes that they're making. Today we're going to be talking about mount escapes. In particular, like kind of understanding how to start defending yourself from a transition when you just get swept and mounted. A lot of times beginners will get in the habit of trying to push off their opponent's chest, and the reality is it's not going to do you much good when it comes to getting out of the mount position. So before we continue, make sure you're hitting the like button, the subscribe button, tell your friends about this. If you have comments, leave the comments. If you have any issues that you're having with mount, let me know as well in the comments so we can see if we can fix those for you. All right, so we're going to talk about the mount position real quick. So this is a positional thing that a lot of beginners tend to mess up with regard to their escapes. Okay, so right here we're going to see Cameron in the white gi. Go ahead and sweep Bryson. He's going to come up on top. So watch immediately what's going to happen. You see Bryson starts to reach up with his hands. Okay, so this is going to allow Cameron to redirect his chest, and Bryson's not going to be able to push off the hip there. So that's the first mistake. So Cameron comes forward. Bryson's doing a decent job here trying to protect his head. But here, again, look, you see Bryson trying to fight the crossface. That's a big, big mistake here. That crossface is going to come whether you like it or not. What Bryson needs to be doing is immediately starting to work his escapes by attacking the hips. What you're going to see instead is once Cameron sets up that crossface, he's driving that forward pressure. Bryson's attention is going to start to come upward towards the chest. So that was a nice little attempt to get out, but Bryson's pushing up towards the chest and not enough towards the hips. And you'll see it again a couple times here. You'll see a perfect example of it here. How do I know he's pushing up against the chest? Because look where his elbow's framed. Bryson is not doing what he can to focus on the hips. This is where a lot of the escapes, especially at a higher level, are going to work. Instead, he's pushing up towards the chest, and a lot of beginners make this mistake, and that makes it really, really hard to overcome in this position. So he had my student's feet, Bryson's feet. He starts to push me up, and then he gets here in this position. Okay, so in the video, what you're going to notice is Bryson starts pushing towards the chest here. Okay, so Cameron starts to make his way up. He pushes his arm out of the way, and then immediately what's going to happen is Bryson gets to this position. Okay. So just kind of notice here, look, if I get caught in this position, Cameron starts to sweep me here. Okay, look, first of all, best thing to do from this position is just to start by preparing, squeezing the knees up, and then start to get the legs crossed in one position, okay? But I'm going to talk about the mount escape idea. So now look, as Cameron comes up, he's going to give me a lot of space on my hips, or around my hip area. Okay, so the big thing that you don't want to do is try to push and maybe even try to get up or try to use your abdominal muscles to come up, especially skilled guys here. They'll catch that arm bar. In the video's case, Cameron just moved the arm out of the way. Okay, so you almost want to start getting towards the hips and start to create space by framing against the hips and not necessarily trying to push to come back up on top. Okay, so again, his legs are going to be light here. I'm going to take my attention away from his chest and onto his hips. Now when I create my frame, I can start hip escaping and creating space in this area to start getting my guard back. Okay. Instead, what happened was you start pushing away on the chest. Cameron moved the arm out of the way, and now we're here. Okay. The next big mistake is framing against the chest here. All right. Once Cameron's got the position, like, you don't want to start messing with the chest. What happened also was Cameron started to make a crossface, and then you see this. Okay, so let's talk about why that's a problem. Okay, consider that two of the most fundamental principle, or the most fundamental principle with regard to attacking, is understanding the position of the elbows. Right. So if my elbow comes across my center line or away from my body, that's two ways that I can allow my opponent to attack me. Right. So if I go from this position, my elbows are exposed. Compared to pushing on the hips, my elbows are not exposed, okay? The next thing here is as he starts to come back in, look, he's gonna get that crossface. That's gonna happen, all right? Unless you're super strong, no amount of me trying to rip your arm off my face is gonna keep you from getting that crossface. You're gonna get it. But what happens is when I start to focus on that crossface, look how my elbows come above my chest, and that's really problematic, all right? So as he gets to mount, look, I should have focused on the hips the whole time, but I made a mistake. I had my arms up, camera started to go on the top and mount, and now my arm's exposed. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to start getting back up to the chest. What will actually happen, you look at the shoulder, my shoulder will start to flatten back out on the mat. Okay. Here I actually have a pretty good chance. The one thing that I have to focus on is the position of this elbow. Again, I don't want my elbow coming across my body, and I don't want it coming away from my body. So I bring it down towards the hip. Okay. Now if I'm on my side and Cameron tries to cross face me, it's going to be hard. But if I come back here and he tries to cross face me, now it's easy. So I go here, and my body's in like a 45-degree angle. Okay. Now from here, if he tries to attack, if he tries to attack, I can create space pretty easily, okay? So again, just to recap, whenever I get mounted, I want to take away my attention from here and go right into the hip, all right? So this is where I create my frame. So no matter what he does to my head, he just tries to reach in for a collar choke, I start to attack towards the hip. He gets his leg up like this, wonderful. He gives me space to start maneuvering out. Okay, so I always want to, even if I make the mistake and I'm up here and he starts putting my arms down, number one thing is I have to get my arms back in towards his hips, and I have to maintain my body in this kind of posture here. This is going to help me out a ton when it comes to being able to escape the mount position, is just try to find this home base where I get in this position. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. We're going to be posting a series every Friday. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, the whole nine. Also check out the links in the bio if you like this video.